The 13th century Mongol invasions included a day of extreme death toll few history books discuss. We know Genghis Khan, but the brutality was unimaginable. In 1221, at the city of Merv, 300,000 people were systematically slaughtered in just 24 hours. This is the story of a civilization erased. Merv, Queen of the World. Before the Mongol apocalypse, the Khwarazmian Empire dominated Central Asia and Persia. Its crown jewel was Merv, located in modern-day Turkmenistan. In the early 13th century, Merv wasn't just a city. It was potentially the largest, most cultured city on Earth. A vital oasis metropolis on the Silk Road, it was a center of immense wealth and intellectualism. Merv was famed for its libraries, 10 massive facilities, some containing hundreds of thousands of manuscripts, at a time when European monasteries treasured collections of mere dozens. Scholars here studied astronomy, mathematics, and poetry. Its markets produced high-quality textiles and some of the finest steel in the world. Merv was known as the Queen of the World, a beacon of civilization protected by formidable walls. For its inhabitants, life was sophisticated and seemingly secure, completely unprepared for the storm gathering in the east. The fatal insult. Initially, Genghis Khan did not seek war with the Khwarazmian Empire. He sought trade. In 1218, he sent a massive trade caravan of around 450 merchants and diplomats to the Khwarazmian frontier city of Otrar. However, the local governor, Inalchuk, driven by greed or suspicion, accused the delegation of espionage. In a catastrophic breach of diplomatic immunity, sacred under Mongol law, Inalchuk had the entire caravan slaughtered. Enraged but still diplomatic, Genghis Khan sent a second delegation directly to Shah Ala ad-Din Muhammad II, the supreme ruler, demanding reparations. The Shah responded with an even greater insult. He executed the chief ambassador and mutilated the others before sending them back. This was more than a declaration of war. It was a guarantee of annihilation. The Khan's vengeance would be total, and the Khwarazmian Empire was doomed. The Doctrine of Terror. The invasion, launched in 1219, was characterized by speed, discipline, and calculated brutality. The Mongols were not merely conquerors, they were masters of psychological warfare. Their operational doctrine was brutally simple and widely advertised. Surrender immediately, and the population might be spared, though taxed heavily and stripped of skilled workers. Resist, and face total annihilation. This was not random violence. It was a strategic policy. The complete destruction of one city served as a terrifying advertisement to the next, encouraging preemptive surrender and ensuring the Mongols left no resistance behind them. Cities like Bukhara and the capital, Samarkand, had already fallen to sophisticated Mongol siege tactics, often utilizing captured Chinese and Persian engineers. As the Shah fled and his armies shattered, the Mongols systematically dismantled the empire, city by city, leaving a trail of devastation aimed at breaking the will of the people. The Siege of Merv. By early 1221, the Mongol army, commanded by Tolui, one of Genghis Khan's sons, arrived at the gates of Merv. The situation inside the city was desperate. Merv's population had swollen dramatically, overwhelmed by hundreds of thousands of refugees fleeing the Mongol advance in the surrounding countryside. This influx strained resources and created internal divisions among the defenders. Tolui encircled the metropolis, spending nearly a week scouting the defenses and assembling his formidable siege engines. The defenders of Merv attempted several sorties to break the encirclement, but they were brutally repulsed and driven back behind the walls. The psychological pressure mounted as the citizens witnessed the overwhelming force arrayed against them. They knew the fate of those who resisted, yet the sheer size of their city offered a false hope of survival against the inevitable Mongol assault. The Betrayal and the Lie. Facing the terrifying efficiency of the Mongol siege, the governor of Merv lost his nerve. He decided to negotiate, sending an emissary to Tolui, offering the city's complete surrender in exchange for a guarantee of safety for its inhabitants. Tolui agreed to the terms. Believing they had been spared a horrific fate, the citizens of Merv opened their gates. It was a fatal error. Tolui immediately reneged on his promise. He ordered the entire population to evacuate the city and assemble on the open plain outside the walls, ostensibly for a census so they could be organized. The citizens, carrying what few possessions they could, filed out under the watchful eyes of the Mongol soldiers. For several days, the Mongols organized the massive crowd, separating the wealthy, the artisans, and the children. The atmosphere was one of profound terror, as families realized the promise of mercy was a lie designed only to make the slaughter more efficient. The Day of Annihilation. Once the entire population was outside the walls and organized, the systematic extermination began. The Mongols selected a few hundred artisans and craftsmen to be enslaved and sent back to Mongolia, along with some of the children. Everyone else was doomed. The population was divided among the army, and the Mongol soldiers were organized into execution squads. It was industrialized killing on a scale rarely seen in the ancient world. Contemporary sources report that each soldier was assigned an execution quota. Some say 300 to 400 people per man. They used swords, axes, and clubs to avoid wasting arrows. The organizational capacity required to murder hundreds of thousands of defenseless people in a compressed time frame is horrific. The plain outside Merv was transformed into an open grave in a matter of hours. Analyzing the numbers. The death tolls cited by historical chroniclers for the sack of Merv are astronomical. The contemporary historian Ibn al-Athir estimated 700,000 deaths. The Persian chronicler At-Malik Juvaini claimed 1.3 million people were killed, stating it took 13 days just to count the bodies. Modern historians generally view these numbers as exaggerations, typical of medieval chronicles trying to convey the magnitude of an unimaginable disaster. However, even conservative estimates place the total death toll in the high hundreds of thousands. Given the organized nature of the massacre and the Mongol emphasis on efficiency, it is entirely plausible that 300,000 people, or more, were executed within the first 24 hours of the slaughter. Regardless of the exact figure, the consensus is clear. The population of one of the world's largest cities was effectively eradicated, a forgotten graveyard. The Mongols didn't just kill the people, they destroyed the city itself. The libraries were burned, the walls were torn down, and crucially, the intricate irrigation systems and dams that made life possible in the desert oasis were destroyed. Merv never recovered its former glory and remained largely uninhabited for centuries. Why is this event so obscure? Our historical focus often remains centered on Western European narratives. The destruction of the Khwarazmian Empire fundamentally altered the trajectory of the Islamic Golden Age, leaving deep psychological scars on Central Asia. Events like the sack of Merv remind us of the fragility of civilization, demonstrating how quickly intellectual centers and entire populations can be erased when diplomacy fails and calculated terror is unleashed. It's a dark chapter, but one that must be remembered. History is full of these pivotal, devastating moments that often get overlooked. If you found this story impactful, please hit the like button and share this video to help bring these forgotten narratives to light. We have many more deep dives into the complex corners of history coming up, so make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on. What other massive historical events do you think deserve more attention? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you for watching.